For years, it has been the whisper in the dark, the fervent prayer in financial forums, the single, shimmering thread of hope that kept an entire community of investors holding on to those distinctive, often misunderstood banknotes from Iraq and Vietnam. But today, I am telling you, right here, right now, that the whisper has become a roar, the prayer has been answered, and that thread of hope has just been woven into the unbreakable rope of financial reality, because Frank26, a name synonymous with this movement, a figure who has endured relentless criticism and unwavering support in equal measure, has finally broken his silence with a declaration so profound, so seismic in its implications, that it effectively shatters the decade-long stalemate of speculation and launches us headfirst into the era of tangible, bank-confirmable action. The long-awaited revaluation, the RV, is not a future event to be penciled in on some speculative calendar. According to the intelligence now coming through, it is a process that is actively, irrevocably in motion, with new rates for the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong allegedly beginning to flicker to life on the internal screens of global financial institutions, the very same screens that dictate the flow of trillions of dollars daily. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't about a blogger's opinion or a decoded message from a cryptic press release. This is about the core plumbing of the global monetary system. The digital ledger where value is assigned and recognized across borders. And if this intelligence is correct, then the paradigm has just shifted beneath our feet. The core premise of this investment has always rested on a fundamental, data-driven belief that these currencies are grotesquely undervalued, not by accident, but as a direct consequence of decades of conflict, economic isolation, and deliberate policy choices aimed at stability over true valuation. Consider Iraq, a nation sitting atop one of the planet's largest proven oil reserves, a resource that translates directly into immense national wealth and, by extension, should translate into a formidable currency valuation. Yet the dinar has been artificially pegged at a rate that reflects its war-torn past, not its hydrocarbon-saturated future. The data is stark and undeniable. The country's GDP, heavily fueled by oil exports, has been on a roller coaster but trends upwards, with billions of dollars in foreign investment slowly trickling back into infrastructure. Yet the currency's value remained a political artifact, a relic. Similarly, Vietnam, with its explosive, dragon-like economic growth, its position as a global manufacturing hub rivaling China, and its rapidly burgeoning middle class, possesses a currency whose official rate has long been disconnected from the sheer, vibrant economic activity pulsating through the streets of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. The economic metrics are all there, painting a picture of a nation on the ascent. Soaring exports, controlled inflation, and a stock market that has captured the world's attention. The logical data-based conclusion has always been that a revaluation was not a matter of if, but when, and the when was always tied to specific, tangible triggers. The fulfillment of international banking compliance standards like the SWIFT system integration, the clearing of sovereign debt, and the political stability necessary to command global confidence. The silence from key figures like Frank26 in recent months was deafening, leading many to fear the worst, to assume that the goalposts had been moved once again into the distant future. But this sudden, decisive breaking of that silence suggests something entirely different. It suggests that those triggers have been pulled, that the behind-the-scenes machinations at the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and within the central banks of Iraq and Vietnam have reached a critical mass, culminating in the one event we have all been waiting for, the activation of a new, realistic exchange rate that reflects the true economic standing of these nations on the global stage. This is the moment where the theoretical becomes practical, where the paper in your safe transforms from a speculative instrument into a recognized store of value. And if you are listening to this, it means you are already ahead of the curve. But staying ahead requires understanding the monumental shift that is currently unfolding. Now, let's dismantle the mechanism of this momentous shift, moving beyond the mere announcement to understand the intricate architecture of what an active revaluation process truly entails. Because this is not a simple light switch being flipped. It is a sophisticated, multi-layered financial orchestration that has been decades in the making. and its activation signals the culmination of geopolitical and economic forces that can no longer be contained. The first and most critical piece of evidence pointing towards a genuine RV event rather than mere speculation is the specific claim that new rates are now visible on global bank screens. This terminology is not chosen lightly. It refers to the proprietary internal systems used by major international banks and financial institutions for foreign exchange trading, systems like Reuters Dealing, Bloomberg FXGO, or EBS. These platforms are the epicenters of the global currency market, and for a new, significantly higher rate for the Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese Dong to appear there, it means that the necessary international infrastructure has been formally updated. This includes the crucial SWIFT network, which must be configured to recognize and process transactions at the new currency codes and values, a process that involves coordination with the ISO 4217 currency standard bodies and requires formal, official notification from the respective central banks. It implies that the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, and the State Bank of Vietnam, SBV, have disseminated official circulars to their correspondent banking partners worldwide, instructing them to update their systems in preparation for the new regime. This is a data-based reality, not a rumor. For a bank's system to display a rate, it must be fed from an authoritative source, and this digital paper trail is the first concrete step in transforming the currency's value from a national concept into an internationally tradable asset. The second layer of this process involves the unwinding of the old artificial pegs and the establishment of a new market-reflective equilibrium. For Iraq, this has meant a gradual move away from a strict, highly managed peg to the US dollar towards a more flexible exchange rate, a transition that has been publicly advocated for by the International Monetary Fund for years to help combat domestic inflation and foster a more resilient financial sector. The recent economic data from Iraq supports this transition. Their foreign currency reserves have reached robust levels, providing a strong buffer to support a new, stronger dinar. And the government's efforts towards financial inclusion and digital payment systems have been noted by international observers as positive steps towards modernization. For Vietnam, the story is similar, but with its own unique nuances. The SBV has long maintained a tight control over the Dong's trading band, but immense pressure from export-driven growth, a surge in foreign direct investment, and the need to control inflation has made a revaluation almost an economic inevitability. The data points are overwhelming. Vietnam's GDP growth has consistently been among the highest in the world. Its trade surplus has ballooned and its foreign reserves have skyrocketed, creating a massive fundamental undervaluation that the market forces have been straining to correct. The new rates being discussed, therefore, are not arbitrary numbers pulled from thin air. They are the logical, data-driven conclusions of these pent-up economic pressures finally being released through official channels. This process is also deeply intertwined with global compliance and the fight against illicit finance. The deployment of these new rates on international systems would be impossible without Iraq and Vietnam achieving a significant level of compliance with the anti-money laundering, AML, and counter-financing of terrorism, CFT standards set by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF. This is a non-negotiable gateway to the global financial community. Without it, major correspondent banks would simply refuse to process transactions, effectively locking the currency out of the international system. The fact that we are discussing live rates on bank screens is, in itself, powerful circumstantial evidence that these nations have successfully navigated these complex regulatory hurdles, signaling to the world that their financial systems are now transparent and robust enough to handle the immense scrutiny and volume of a freely traded, internationally recognized currency. This is the silent, unglamorous work that has been happening behind the scenes for years, and its completion is the true trigger for everything that follows, transforming the dream of a revaluation from a community hope into a structured, executable financial process governed by the same rules that apply to every other major world currency. So, where does this leave you? The individual holder who has navigated this long and often uncertain path with patience and conviction. The transition from seeing a rate on a screen to physically exchanging your currency at a local bank or authorized dealer is the final, crucial phase, and understanding this sequence of events is paramount to navigating the coming days with clarity and confidence, not frantic anxiety. The appearance of rates on international bank screens, as Frank26 has indicated, typically signifies the beginning of the Tier 1 activation. This is the realm of sovereign wealth funds, international oil contracts, and interbank settlements, where the new values are first used to recalibrate national debts and assets on a macro scale. This phase is vital for stabilizing the new currency regime and ensuring there are no systemic shocks to the global financial system. It's the deep structural work that happens out of public view. The subsequent step, which we are all waiting for, is the activation for Tier 2 and Tier 3. This encompasses commercial banks, foreign exchange kiosks, and ultimately the retail level where you and I will conduct our exchanges. There will be a defined process, and it is highly likely that it will be communicated clearly by the respective central banks, so the most important thing you can do right now is to ensure you are monitoring only the most reliable sources for official announcements, not the chaotic noise of social media speculation. This is also the moment for absolute operational security. Do not publicly discuss the specifics of your holdings. Do not fall for phishing scams promising early exchange access for a fee. And do not engage with anyone who pressures you for personal financial information. The legitimate process will be transparent and conducted through established, regulated financial institutions. You must have your documentation in order. Ensure your banknotes are in good condition, free of significant tears or excessive markings, and that you have a valid, government-issued photo ID and any proof of purchase you may have retained, as banks will have strict compliance protocols to follow for these particular currencies. This is not just about converting one currency for another. This is about the culmination of a strategic financial decision, and with that comes the profound responsibility of managing the resultant wealth wisely. The sudden liquidity event that an RV represents is a life-altering opportunity, but history is littered with stories of individuals who came into rapid wealth only to see it evaporate due to a lack of planning. Before you take a single step into a bank, your first call should be to a team of trusted, fee-based financial advisors and tax attorneys who specialize in windfall management and international currency events. You need a plan for wealth preservation, for tax efficiency, and for legacy building. This is not about spending. This is about securing your family's future for generations. Think in terms of pillars. A pillar of liquidity for immediate needs and debts. A pillar of secure, low-risk investments for stability. A pillar of growth-oriented assets for the future. And a pillar of philanthropic capital if that aligns with your personal values. This structured approach is what separates a lasting legacy from a fleeting moment of extravagance. The information you have received today is the key that unlocks the door. But what you build once you walk through it is entirely up to you. This community has stood together through years of uncertainty. And now, at the precipice of validation, our collective wisdom and discipline are more critical than ever. We have a responsibility to ourselves, to our families, and to each other to navigate this transition with intelligence, grace, and a steadfast commitment to the principles that brought us here. The wait, it appears, is finally over. The process has begun. Now, it is your time to step forward, informed and prepared, to claim the future you have patiently built. And that is why you need to take action right now. If this breakdown has provided you with clarity and value, if you believe this information is crucial for every currency holder to hear, then I need you to do 3 things for me immediately. First, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we are the ones providing real-time, data-driven updates while others are stuck in the cycle of rumor. Your subscription directly tells the YouTube algorithm that this is critical content that needs to be pushed to the entire community. Second, I need you to leave a comment down below with the words, confirmed and sovereign. Let's get that trending as a signal of our unified, informed position as we move into this new phase. And third, and most importantly, share this video with every single person in your network, on every platform you use. Do not keep this intelligence to yourself. Use the share feature right now and send it to your group chats, your forum circles, and your fellow investors. We are at the finish line, and it is our collective duty to ensure that no one is left in the dark. Share this video everywhere because knowledge is power, and right now we are empowering the entire community. Do it now.